Alright, so obviously we're not on a disc golf course. I'm in my basement in front of my basket with disc golf on. I'll go into that later. Um, but I just wanted to sit down and describe what disc golf is because a lot of you guys probably don't know what it is, and a lot of you guys probably also do. It's a good mix of knowing and not knowing. So I just wanted to help the people that don't know learn a little bit more about disc golf and why I love it so much. But the basics is essentially you have your discs and you go out to the course and you throw them into the basket. That's the basics. Um, Now getting a little bit more in depth, we're gonna move these real quick. You have putters, which I'll show it to the camera. You have more rim on here, or whatever you call it. So they're not supposed to go really far. It's kind of like pitching wedges. That's how I can describe a putter to you, or also actual putters for golf. Use them for close distances. They're not supposed to go far. You're not supposed to throw them hard. Supposed to not throw them nice and controlled if you do throw them. And they have a nice, really straight path, whereas they're not going to go too far right or too far left. They're just going to go nice and straight and then hopefully just drop. Next, you have your mid-ranges. Now they have a little bit more rim on the bottom, and I can describe these as kind of your irons, like your slow irons. They're supposed to go a little further. They have more movement right and left depending on what the disc is supposed to do. If you have an understable disc, it's going to go, for right hand backhand, it's going to go to the right naturally. If you have neutral or stable, it's going to want to go straight with no real right or left movement. But if you have overstable, it's going to go left for right hand backhand. If you're forehanding, that's complete opposite. Understable goes left, neutral straight, overstable right. Yeah, and then next you have your fairway drivers. Again, you can see they're supposed to go a little bit further because they're supposed to cut through the air more. These are going to have a lot of right and left movement. They're not really going to stay straight as much. If you throw a putter and a mid-range and a fairway driver at the same speed and they all have the same numbers, they're all the fairway's going to have more right and left movement than the putter, which is going to stay more straight. Last but not least, you have your distance driver, which as you can see there is pretty flat. It's supposed to go far. These are distance. You throw them as hard as you can. They're supposed to go far. But yeah, next I'm going to sit back now. My voice cracked. Now each disc has 4 different flight numbers. Discraft has 5, I'll explain that later. Your basic numbers, so you have your speed, which is how fast the disc is. Usually putters like this one I'm holding, they range from 1 through 4 speeds. 4 is kind of like on the fast end, but a lot of putters range in the 2 and 3 speed, and that's what a lot of people use for putting within maybe 100 feet, maybe further. And like your 3 and 4 speeds are used more for throwing. And then you have the glide, which is how much does this one stay in the air. That ranges on a scale of like 1 to 7-ish. A lot of discs are on the 4 and 5 glide range, and there's not a huge difference between just 4 and 5, but if you have a disc that has only like 3, yeah. If you have a disc that only has like 3 glide versus a disc that has 6, the 3 glide discs want to get to the ground quicker, and discs with less glide are usually more overstable, so they want to go left more than more glidey discs. So for example here, this putter has 4 glide. I have some other putters that have 3 glide, and you can tell a difference in that glide. This putter wants to stay in the air more and longer, while the other one kind of wants to get down to the ground and just drop. Um, Next is turn. So for right hand backhands, how much does it want to go to the right? So some discs have -5 turn. So for me, that's gonna want to go really right. And it's almost not worth throwing for me because of my personal preference. Um, but a lot of discs are within like that -1 or -2 where you'll get some right movement, but not too much. It's a controllable amount of movement that a lot of people can throw. Um, Especially on fairways, having that -1 or -2 turn is huge. It makes a difference if you're gonna bag the disc or not. Um, and then the last number is fade. So how much does it want to come back left? So this putter, all the flight numbers is speed 2, glide 4, turn 0, fade 1. So what all that means is essentially if you throw this disc flat and like a robot, it's going to want to go straight and it's going to go to the left a little bit and then drop. While if I throw this mid-range, which the numbers are 5, 5, 0, 2. So 5 speed, 5 glide, 0 turn, 2 fade. It's going to want to go straight. But since it has a little bit more glide and it's faster, it's going to go further than the putter. But it's also going to go more left because there's more fade on it. I would do simply here with this fairway. The numbers are 8, 4, -1, 1. So essentially, if you throw it at that 8 speed, going back to speeds actually, I just remember this. If your arm speed can only throw a 7 or 8 speed, and you try and throw a 12 speed, that's opposed to not like all the pros though, where they get some turn out of it, then it comes back. For you, it's only going to want to go straight and then left because you're not throwing the disc fast enough, or you're not getting enough spin on it for it to do what it's supposed to do. Anyways, but yeah, 8, 4, -1, 1 are the numbers on this fairway, and if a robot threw this, it will want to go straight a little bit to the right, and it will want to come back to the left. So essentially, it's just going to be in a straight line. I tell people to think of it as kind of like a grid. So whatever turn it has, it's going to come back that much left. So if you have theoretically like one of the discs in my bag, it's a Mockingbird. The numbers are 7, 5, -2, 1. So essentially, it's going to want to go 2 to the right, and then 1 back to the left. So essentially, it's going to just go right 1 spot over. Like if you imagine it as a grid. I only tell that to beginners, is as people learn, that's not exactly the case because glide has a fact in that. If a disc has like 6 glide but it has -2 turn and 1 fade, it's going to act different than a disc with 5 glide, -2 turn and 1 fade. Because it wants to stay in the air longer, it's want to go to the right more and just stay in the air. Whilst the 5 glide kind of wants to get back down and actually fade out with that -1. A lot of pros do throw really overstable distance drivers, like example this Force that my dad died. The numbers are 12, 5, 0, 3. So even if I threw this, I can't really throw this because my arm speed isn't that fast. If I threw this flat, it's gonna want to go straight and then immediately left because I can't get it enough to stay straight long enough that it's just gonna fade out and just drop because it's not up to speed. There are some distance drivers in my bag that I can throw. Obviously, like the Rake. This is one of the most popular discs on the market. It's 11.5 -1.3. Now, because it's slower, a little bit slower than this 12 speed, is I can get that -1 flight out of it, so it's gonna want to go to the right, and it's gonna come back more. But yeah, that's the basics of disc golf. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm probably gonna do another video about this, actually in a field. It's just really cold out today, and I already filmed a video that I'm gonna maybe put out Wednesday of March, whatever. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and see you in the next one.